ど。それなりにきついな。
And the format that's readable by the big column. And then this will echo 10,000 copies to the screen, but nowhere on the screen I've sent it into a file naming it messages in there. And call messages.date.10k will incorporate this file. What's happening is the copy management is two columns. So we're going to make so you have to take both columns. And you don't want ID columns, so the way that is you create a file with one column and reference that file. The file has finished writing, but we'll just set up a transfer as soon as it's finished. You can forward it, and in this case, the limiter is not comma. So we're going to set it to now the file finishes calculated and it's copied. It's only one column. Now let's reselect count star and it's 10,000 entries. And if we select start the messages, you should see all the default auto sets all the way through message 10,000. If you use an integer for the auto super generator, you'll within 2 billion stars or 4 billion one star. So we've added 0 comma, column that is, and we've also generated some data to provide in equals 10,000. We echo date, and we set this into a file name as follows, and operators to generate 10k records, and use a copy today. Copy messages date from equal path. Equal path to file. With the following. That's inserted, and we follow up with a select count star. Messages just to confirm, and then of course select star, which goes without saying. So the original delete all of these records wholesale. Let's do one more time, delete some messages. No criteria, everything's gone, select star, empty. Not as fast as truncate, not as optimal, but it works. Copy brings it right back in, select star shows it. And truncate, as mentioned, is the optimal way to remove all messages and take it down everything. So let's repopulate some customized in here for other types of queries that we have. So let's set up the default on columns and be able to import data from files, and be careful with our usage of the delete command.
反応台ってこれ真実の中に入ってくる。
So the notion behind indices or indexes is that they speed skill, they expedite data retrieval, and consequently data writes for operations such as insert, update, and delete. They do so because the default method of searching for information within SQL compliant databases makes it sequential. So the concept of looking through a book is akin to searching for pages 1 through 10, as opposed to defaulting the index, finding exactly where the data you're looking for are located, and then navigating to that location. Indexes, as a consequence, regardless of the DNS type, reference data locations, or index columns. As a consequence, or a byproduct, produces data retrieval time. Again, akin to an index within a book. So without indexes, let's just reiterate, without indices, SQL, regardless of platform, performs sequential table scans. We search the data. It applies to standard DML tables, selected setup tables. So when we search for data, SQL defaults, unless there's an index which will provide access to the data, will rapidly default to sequential table scans, which for small tables may be so taxing or so costly, but for larger tables can be so taxing and so costly. Now, indexes are previously defined on columns. So we create these objects or items on columns. that are frequently queried and or joined. So the columns that you're accustomed to frequently querying and or joining, those should be candidate columns for indices because they're accessed frequently, and the consequence, SQL will be forced, in the case of SQL, will be forced to return the underlying data that correspond to those IDs. Again, to joins and or straightaway searches using joins. Let's just also note that here is more of a caveat and a feature. During creation of indices, only reads are permitted to the table being indexed. And this is regard against corruption and invalidation of the index. So ideally, you should create indices early on in the definition of the database, which means early on during the design phase, outline the indices that will be most beneficial for your DBMS. And should be described as early in the process as possible to guard against possible blocks or denial of service to the client. And it depends, of course, on how busy your application is. Now there's a max of 32 columns per index, which means there's multi-column support. But very seldom ever you see an index based on 7 columns. Generally speaking, 1 to about 2 columns should suffice to create. That's really typical. But SQL will allow you to, if necessary, create an index with up to 32 columns. But again, it's highly unlikely that you need to. In the event you need to use so many columns, which would perhaps warrant a little bit of database design, perhaps you can gain advantages in other venues. So let's try some tasks to lead us down the path of creating our index and benefit from it. Now, a useful tool or statement that helps with respect to determining how your SQL instance goes about performing queries is the explain command. The explain command explains the path or the decision tree that PostgreSQL will follow when carrying out the queries. So the simple queries, for example, like select star from messages, the field plan returned as general sequential scan with all records and messages returned. Let's look at them. Explain followed by the query. It gives PostgreSQL the opportunity to display without execution the plan or method of action that has been taken to carry out the query. So it explains does not execute plan to deliver query or plan to execute query. This becomes important when you decide when and where to anchor the indexes. Let's take a look on the shelf. Postgres instance connected to EC2 with a default Postgres instance. And then once in, we'll explain what it takes to select star from messages. Now notice the output, first line of these is one row is returned, this is the query plan. But a sequential scan takes the ability to select star, which means to return all records. A sequential scan will be returned. However, whenever you use operators like comparison operators, like less than, greater than, less than, equal to, and ranges using those comparison operators, you'll find that indexes were defined with records. So for flat out, returning all the records and messages, PostgreSQL defaults to sequential scan. The cost is returned, gives an estimation of the range of cost from 0 to 100 for those records. The number of rows that will be returned as a consequence of executing query, in this case, returns 10,000 because most frequently populated the table messages with 10,000 entries. And the width is the average width of the return values, 24 bytes per row. Now, let's select count star for messages to ensure that there are 10,000 rows. And indeed, now sometimes according to the Postgres application, although I've never seen it off even for large tables, the rows return estimation is just that. It sometimes returns slightly less or slightly more than the number of actual rows in the table. Perhaps what gives you a not frequently. But for our last case, trust the values with respect to rows that are returned by the query. So you will explain as a way to analyze what the cost to execute the query. Now, when index moves queries are involved, the query plan often involves multiple rows. And the more complex the query, such as the joins are involved and records to indexes, the more rows, the more levels you'll see in the query plan indicating the different steps that Postgres will take to fulfill the query. Query that is the execute. Postgres, the second entity DBMS has to come up with a plan, method of action, which is called the query plan, which may or may not involve consulting to find indices. So this will explain select star or messages. How about adding some criteria to that to see if it changes the records used? And it will explain select star or messages. Where ID is equal to, let's go with 4,000. 10,000. So there are 10,000 records, so we should have a record with a rank of 4,000. So now we still see what scan. This means that Postgres will scan from rows 1 through 4,000, return 4,000. And it's not necessarily that much order, which could cause Postgres to return the 4,000 row that contains that 4,000, whether it's position 4,000 or not. These are points that will take a sequential scan to fulfill this query for us. Now, we do have an index already defined on this message table. If you describe messages, you'll see that by virtue of definition of the ID column in the primary key, it becomes an index column. Now, in this case, it doesn't just mean the images of integration. By default, we'll set it up as a primary key field that is defined as an index. But currently, it is not an index. So if we were to perform an explain message for a range of values, let's say ID is greater than or equal to 4,000 and ID is less than or equal to, let's say, 7,800 ad hoc. In this case, it's still a sequential scan. And this is because we do not have an index defined purposely. We are messing around on the table messages. Have you had an index explained? Those are records that have number of users and applications. It does become more critical or more relevant. So roughly between 0 and 250 records we take it to return records that can between 4,000 terminating with 7,800 records that have the index in place. So there are few ways we can address this. We can define ID as a primary key. We can redefine the database altogether, making it a primary key for those and auto incrementing columns. So let's go through the whole process of redesigning it. It's not a big deal. So third, drop and recreate messages tables. There's no constraint values. So the first thing is the drop table messages. Clean things up. Just to remove it. Again, we can use an alt table. And we like to just get rid of any traces of those current inputs. Now messages gone. Let's recreate it with the appropriate field. Receive messages, and we want to define date. The date ID, we can define a serial, which will locate an auto incrementing column. And use the column will suffice for now. Let's look at the serial column. Let's try this out. Paste it in there, and it's a sequence. We can create a redescribe message to see what is the current case. So it's defined as not null, and it has default. Notice still no index on the column, not defined as a primary key. We could add a constraint making it a primary key. If we'd like to do all the data, which would add that index for us. Currently, let's just rerun our explain for the range of values, for example, and notice it's still performing a sequential scan. So using the alter table, we'll add a constraint to the messages table, and we want this constraint to be primary key on ID. Let's just double check. All the data messages added, and the values are for primary key. So this was created the B-tree index for us. And we're initial, which could have done before we just want to include the values out. We started to truncated or deleted from the table as well. So we've executed all the table, so generate B-tree index on column RG. So now we index is in place, and if we attempt to query, although there are no values within the table, for a range of values, now notice that instead of scanning sequentially, the query plan is going to consult the index on ID to find the records that contain values 4,000 to 7,800 inclusively. So as we perform more sophisticated queries, Postgres relies more heavily upon those indexes, including, of course, joins. So this is now in place now. What about for the other instances of the select file message? The ID is equal to specific values opposed to a range of values. In this case, it even consults the index. It shows a lower cost than what we saw earlier, scanning the entire table of values. So default the index is clear. You will not always, in this case, Postgres not always consult the index for values. If it seems it to be faster to get the values by performing a sequential scan, then so be it. But for our purpose, it appears that the index search is equal to the way to go. How about the original query that selects file for messages without criteria? So let's just look for that in our history. And this performs a sequential scan because ultimately it returns all of the rows. And we can estimate to take about 31.4 seconds. And one of the here is our table of copies of a previously defined file. You can define that as messages.date.10k. So let's get this whole path. And copy messages date from following path to CDC, followed by messages.date.10k, and returning date. We're looking at the first column, so we're going to do the other forward slash to copy messages. Now messages contain 10,000 records. So it's my target to confirm, and it contains 10,000 records. So with respect to the index situation, let's describe messages and has the B-tree index for all the tables taken. And let's compare and contrast the speed of data retrieval using the explanation again. So here's an explanation for a simple query where the ID is equal to 4,000. The clock anywhere from 0 to 2 milliseconds. This is not a method. Now let's search for ID, let's say greater than or equal to 4,000, and ID less than or equal to 7990, for example. It's also used to index making larger things over on average. So these queries, and of course the joins, will enhance the whole process. Let's describe messages, categories, and let's select star from it. And currently the joins will help in this particular example. The fact that we have the index is less critical. This B-tree index is automatically assigned primary key columns. It makes querying the table much more rapid, especially in cases where we specify comparison operators which restrict the number of rows that are queried. So far we've looked at indexes that are automatically generated by the system in the case of primary key columns. How we outright create indexes. So create an index on a column, for example. So if we added a new column such as employee ID, messages, or message ID, for example, employee ID is like roughly a number of tables that involve employee ID. So suppose we want to create this messages ID, a separate column which is independent of the auto sequence generated. So we'll create one alter the table, so it's alter table, messages, and we want to add the column, let's call it message ID, with its type set to numeric. And we put the default value for type 0 to doing something auto-generated, or set it such that it's unique, so type numeric and not null. Must have a value. We add the unique in that nature, so it's adding a primary key. Let's modify messages to see what it turns out, and let's check our open message statement. We'll like the table on messages. We want to open table messages, let's just double check. And we're adding message ID and type of numeric message as well. We'll directly out of it. And maintain that it contains no values to be had inserted. Any items, let's go with null for them, and then we describe messages. Otherwise, we have to set a default. So now we have this new column, message ID that has been indexed. So the formal syntax for indexing is as follows. Create index, like you create a table, give it a name, such as message ID, on the table, followed by one or more columns. If you have one or more columns, then indicate it using comma with a minute. So this will message ID without limit. Let's create the index on message ID, such that we can join or look up that or contingent upon message ID. The index will likely be hidden. Let's try to fix the next. it has to default to a value for when an update query populates this value, for example. This is sensible items. So now there's a new index that could potentially be picked. The query, for example, selects message IP date. So messages is a standard sequential scan query. Let's explain what we're having. Sequential scan. On messages there, IP is equal to 5990 arbitrarily. That uses an index scan uses a user is message level index, and let's go with where messages ID equal to 5990. That's message singular. And in this case, it uses the index message ID. So the indices will be used if you create them, especially for query changes. Comparative operators and the calculator training station on structure. Now the explain prefix which tells you what the database wants in the event that the query executes. Now showing you the result using the analyze statement. If you ask the post request to explain what would happen using the analyze option, you actually execute the query and return the total runtime which is fair to the projected runtime. So it's going to be faster than what's projected. So explain with analyze will execute the query suppressing the output, but returning statistics regarding that output. So you note that analyze causes query to execute, suppressing the output, returning useful statistics, including the actual query time. If you'd like to see how long the query actually took to execute, then use the analyze option to explain. So again, for any columns that are available that you will query often, they need not be numeric or columns of numerical values, they can also be columns of other types of values, like string values. And define indexes on it, in particular where you have columns that are going to include them in joins, as well as comparatively measured using the create index statement. So you create an index using the nickname, you set it on one or more columns for a particular table that defines the index for you. And PostgreSQL will automatically maintain the index. So just note, PostgreSQL auto maintains indices. You need not worry about running some sort of rebuild process quite often. Although it wouldn't do no harm with the exception of concurrent write operations such as updates and so on. Now explain, by the way, isn't relegated to select statements. So the hypothetical update of the message table that we do in fact explain, for example, provide a broad query. Explain an update to the messages table that a newly created column message ID equal to across the board make it 3. And this will not actually execute. It will perform a sequential scan. Anything that involves reading all the tables, columns, will invariably reference a sequential scan. Never being access. Analogous to turning all of the pages in a book. So when you get specific with certain values using comparative operators as an example that I like to reference, in this case all the value rows are to be modified. But most of the criteria that usually uses comparative operators will say where ID is perhaps greater than or equal to 1500 and ID is less than or equal to, let's go all the way up to the end 10,000 for example. This is most of the case. Now in this case, notice that it's believed that a sequential scan is still the best way to go. Probably these values. Try to do 2,500 for example, between 1,500 and 2,500. In this case, it's such that it uses the index on the other key. Before you update the values, the top of the still uses an index 2,500. That's still a relatively small block of 2,000 records. Out of the total lot of 10,000, let's go 5,500, and go by 2,000, 7,500. So by the time we hit 7,500, let's try at 7,000, we note that people believe people at 7,000 still believe we're open up for 7,400. At 7,400 or so, thereabouts, it starts to default to sequential scan because it realizes, so somewhere between 7,000 and 7,100, it realizes that we are attempting to update the bulk of the records in the table. And the ideal thing to do for the more cost savings is to realize by just turning all of the pages sequentially as opposed to using an index to reference just the records. So the cost of using an index is more expensive than the cost of turning all the pages. Again, to keep the indexes, you use the key option followed by the name of the table, or more specifically the I. SSCI reveals the indices of the code. So here are the two indices defined within the public schema. Messages underscore ID, which we define, and messages underscore primary key, which is auto defined by virtue of creating a primary key on the ID column. Indices are used with other types of objects in a tied table. Let's just note, enumerate indices info. So one example is SSCI enumerates all indices in the public schema. And of course, it's the optional S and plus. So S turns on system indices that are available across tables, and plus reveals additional information on each side and descriptions. So these are optional ways in which you may execute your list of indices. Before the right designation, but the drop index, you have an extra index that's unnecessary. Drop index. So this is the drop index command, followed by the name, such as messages underscore ID. Remove the index. In other words, if you run with dropping the index for the most part, the slowdown and clear performance by the users negative. So that drops the index, and now it's gone. Just the original there, description of the message table will be as such. But again, what's normally the case with relational databases is that by virtue of creating a primary key, which is an ID column or some sort of column that's unique and will not accept null. So again, primary key is a combination of not null and unique constraints. By virtue of creating those types of columns across the table, you invariably create, regardless of the DNS platform, you invariably create indices on those columns to speed up the queries anyway. And there are often times when, in addition to the primary key, which is usually an auto-generated field, you may have other columns that are queried quite often, employee ID, message ID, some other type of ID, or perhaps string-based columns that frequently reference. In those cases, you do reference a note that you create indices without the ability columns. You can create as many indices users need per table. So create users in the column for physical queries, and you will realize as a consequence expedited queries, and the explain statement will compare and contrast sequential scanning to index search to show you the differential, and you can also analyze to see how long these queries took to execute. That's a little bit about creating indexes and references to see performance gains that are likely to be had when executing on your page. In this section, let's look at some of the built-in functions surrounding math result strings. So over the section, built-in functions. There are other functions for various types of data, including math, strings, date, XML, and so on. So largely, functions allow us to manipulate data in a variety of ways. For example, with respect to math, we can perform calculations such as show me the absolute value of a particular value derived from a column, or give me the square root or cube root, or show me the ceiling and floor with respect to double precision number, or divide these two values that come from two different columns, or show me the logarithm of a certain number, or give me the power of another number, or generate me a random number. So these are some of the things that from time to time you'll find the need to do with some of your numerical values. So let's cover some of these functions, just so you know that they exist. So cover math functions. So for example, we could take the absolute value of a number if we execute a select statement. All of these assume that we practice them with a select statement, either selecting a column or specifying the value within the context of the function. So for example, in the case of absolute value, suppose we wanted the absolute value of -5. This would be the statement, select absolute -5. You want to select the absolute value of a column value for a value within a table, then you reference the name of the column between parentheses. Sans that, you basically define the value of the command line. So this gives us the absolute value, provide a number, and you can specify. So signed integers, unsigned integers, you name it, absolute value to the function. And if you have, let's say, let's describe that. Value each account. So, of course, you can go to query criteria, right? You can just that low. Now, so based on information stored within pages, we can calculate some of these math functions like absolute value, for example. So keep moving forward, select square root is similar, give me the square root of a known value, such as 25, for example, and square root of the values that are stored in the table with return. So the values are not perfect. So 25. Now get me the square root of ID. So that's what we'll calculate on the fly the square root space. Square root 1.41, square root 3, so on and so forth. So it doesn't have to be perfect, and we're able to return that precision. Now, it's obvious for our message table this isn't currently required, but there could be examples or scenarios where it might be important to calculate absolute value of square root, for example. So you've got starting value, negative value, for positive for the calculation, and selecting with absolute, let's say, value of the column, and finding that positive value, for example. Cube root is similar. Just select cube root, any value 125, or the column of value. So just go for select square root, the value from next to one, in conjunction with the query from the table. So cube root, if the rise of cube root, give a column ID, so it's perfect or not, it will provide us with the communications, and the square root is cube root, and then the cube root. So 1 is 1, all the way through, is already passed to the higher values, but nonetheless, there are the values that occur. So you've got functions that you specify in programming languages like absolute values, square root, cube root. Others that come to mind include, that may be more useful in the DMS context, include show me the ceiling. Let's say I have a number 95.4, for example. How does this impact any of our calculations? So with respect to showing surrounding integers, ceiling and floor, like sometimes used for estimation slash rounding. So select the ceiling 95.4. Ceiling in this case gives us the next integer, the next highest integer. So we return the next highest integer. If the starting value is 95.4 negative, then there's the next integer that is higher than 95.4 negative. So ceiling returns the next highest integer. You can imagine, for example, an application where a floating point with a position where the value is like around it, ceiling and floor. It gives the value of floor as well in the discussion. So showing the floor 95.4 because some calculation is performed which is return a non-integer, which may not be appropriate for your application. So the 4 in this case shows the next lowest integer. And the sign for negative counterpart, negative 96 is the next smallest integer. Negative 96 is smaller than negative 95 and 4. So the term's next lowest integer. Useful again for rounding estimation scenarios. Division, there's a function for that, so select. There's one way to do it, divide y by x, for example. So let y be slower 25 and x be 5. Well, of course, 5. So you can just multiple columns slower. Values that are multiple columns, for example. So let's go ahead and in this case, the delimiter is comma not / So that divides us up in our notes. It's actually comma. So the form, of course, division of surprise values. And if you're wondering about floating point or decimal values, that's 2695. And as you see in terms, what is the closest value, the smallest integer in that case? About 27 by 5, 4, 5. It's not showing the floating point, but giving you the lowest integer in that regard. 1529 by 5.
이제 하나 더 거리가 나이는 게
floating point is the result. So having to divide, let's just note that returns each integer in the calculation. So we've got division, we've got logarithm. We wanted, for example, to log of 1,000. Then, of course, it will one that find out 10 to what power gives you 1,000, which is 3. And you stretch it out, 4, so on.
도움에 끌어올릴 때.
Functions are available for you. What if you wanted to exponentially grow a number? You've got a power function. So select power. A comma B is the form, so A comma B. And where A is raised to power, for example. So we want to mention A is 4, to B, which is 3, which is 2. Now we want 4 to the 4, 4 to the 10, and so on. So the power function does that. But we want just a random number. Let's go. Ranges 4 to the 3rd. For a random number, use a random function. This will return a value, let's note, it's going to be quite useful at times. You're not using precise other random number generators, but nonetheless may be useful. Some of your columns. So it returns random value between 0 and 1. So it returns a fractional value. Which can be proved to be random enough or unique enough to your application. Every time you actually give a new number, you count the things to see which you're getting values. So that's 6, 9, 12 by 12, 15. So basically, we're getting to the extent of, in this case, pico numbers or even smaller. And to the negative 15 in that case, again, it might just prove to be random enough for your application. Notice some of the math. Notice throwing some more. Notice certainly double the documentation. So there's nothing more random. In addition to random, and let's note that random gives us 10 to the negative 15 values. So what if we wanted to round values for 10 to ceiling and floor? There's a round function. It's round 35.4, for example. The result is a yield result of more desirable or less desirable in ceiling and floor. So this round down to the nearest integer, then less than 5, let's make it 5, it rounds up, and so on. So the round function is available. There's also another function that might be let's note, round down or up, depending on closeness to the center of the value. And another function, truncates. So supposing you wanted to truncate to a single decimal point, 95.456, for example. Format is A comma B, with B being the truncate value. So it's to truncate to a single decimal, which may use it. You may have values in the columns that span the number of decimal places, and for normalization purposes, it might help you to truncate to a consistent value. Okay, across the board on average, you have floating points of 7 decimals, some 6, some 8, and so on. You can standardize on, let's say, n numbers of to truncate. It simply comes to a top off. It doesn't actually round. It just removes what you tell it to remove. In the case of 0, it takes you back to the whole number. It doesn't round up or down to the way which might be useful. But useful for normalizing floating points. You take care of those decimal places. For example, 0 again gives you the whole number. And of course, we've got trigonometric functions like sine, cosine, and so on. So the cosine of 0 is 1. And sine of 0 will be any other 4 functions in trigonometry are included as well. So I just included the select cosine 0 returns 1. And other trig functions are available. So these are some of the things you can do with that function. Again, these functions take values in command line, but they'll also operate as queries. So give me the sign, for example, of the ID column from messages where applicable. They're the sign values for those particular columns. Now, of course, the usefulness of this is applicable to your application. There may be times you need to take sign or truncate. I also use the truncate function to normalize columns that contain a variable number of floating points. Useful feature is no more than number now. Sometimes you use it in conjunction with another thing. We'll show you an example of that. Now, the second part, let's cover useful string functions. The number of functions, basic built-in functions included in Postgres. These are just built-in functions. I have frequently referenced. Once you understand a handful of them, maybe 3 or more, and the rest is just looking it up. Now, supposing you wanted to find out the bit length of a particular column. Or a particular string. Let's start with the string. Those use the string, then look at data generated from the table structure. So there's a built-in function called bit length, the underscore length. And if you reference it with a string, such as the following, it will return Postgres the number of bits. Now, we should be able to calculate the number of bits available with the estimation that each character operates or occupies as a byte. We just need to count the number of characters. So test is 4, space is 5, and 20 has 5. So we've got 10 characters. That should be 80 bits. So, of course, in this simple example, you can discern what the variable values across the column are not space. So let's go ahead and try this out. Just get space occupied byte. I'll just find messages, and it currently has the following columns under here. Useful date is currently not populated with select star. Our messages is worth counting, and what's worth calculating. We've got date, ID, message ID, let's alter the table, including the full column that has messages, we'll alter the table message, and we will the column. We want this column to be named message of type text with not null constraint and default of syslog message. See how this plays out, and we'll redescribe it. Work my messages. Now we've got message that word interrogate test tag curly. Remember generated because it's got that column that was in the previous example. But I'm left with category. So select bit length. Select the bit length of the values in the column which come back consistently. So select bit length instead of the explicit value mentioned between single quotes. Single quotes is almost universal for preserving. So record the name of the column message from messages. So we can calculate automatically the bit length or the sheer length, the bit length of the values. So select bit length message from messages. So we didn't ask to select values. Could select the values from it is just calculation with the piercing aggregate, but it isn't. It's just calculated per row. So select message, comma, bit length message. So syslog space message equals 112 bits. And of course, get a node calculator session going. So bring up our calculator, we go 112 divided by 8, that tells us it's 14 bytes. And if it counts out, syslog is 6 plus space 7, which means the word message must be 7 bytes, and we occupy 7 bytes, so we got a total of 14 bytes across the syslog messages that are displayed, so it returns 112 bits. So sometimes it's important to know the bit length for other calculations. You underscore length, so you know that it's bytes. So also find a Postgres provides functions built in that handle most of your complicated needs. There's some that create different functions to perform that have not already performed by Postgres. What about character length? That comes from our select versus explicit static example. Character length of perhaps the following test funny. So character length calculations differ from bit length because bit length represents the storage units on the disk. So let's take a character length. Character length will tell you the number of characters, not the number of hits or bytes. So it tells us that test funny occupies 10 characters. So that means, well, if you translate it out, it's roughly code for it. Seems kind of nice. So it's 10 characters, 4 in test, 5 in bunny, 1 in the space. Multiplied by 8, you get 80 bits. So there is a correlation between the length of characters, not always the length of characters. Usually 1 to 1. 1 character, 1 byte. So look at it, that's the ratio. So return 10 cars. And again, the column selects car length against message from messages, and let's also select message. That value per record. We'll return the car length, which was the log space message. We'll see should be 14 cars if we just calculate what's going to happen. So there are car length 14 across the board. There should be no variation, of course, which means max and min seconds, 4 dimensions will select. You get a max of the car length, then we'll process that flow and see what's available. So that's car length against both static strings and table entries that are defined. Now certainly there are other types of functions that exist with strings. Now supposing we want normalized output to be lowercase, regardless of the values that are available. We'll mix it up a bit. There's a lowercase function as you expect. So select. We can do a slide data, for example. So select lower, and let's go to test 20 and turn 8. So this normalizes output to be lowercase. And of course this translates nicely over to selecting information from the table. Again, it's all in the name of normalization. So let's try it again. So now we supply P and B uppercase, but the lower function to normalize the output lowercase form. We can make this up, of course. And as expected, this is normalized nicely. So against the table, or with the query, we'll place query against the table. We're selecting lower instead of single quotes from messages. The columns using messages, and copy the block. And let's count the forms against the table. Now, granted, the information in the table is all normalized lowercase and table, so we always insert and create some variable data, so let's insert using messages, following values, and that'll be current date, so include now. And let's also specify an ID. The ID will not be auto-generated, so let's go with 10,001. Let's specify the message ID of 10,001, although we'll just get rid of it. And a message of, comma, test mess as we follow this next round. So let's see what happens. Let's select star for messages, and we want to order by ID, descending, limit, 10. So there's the value 10,001 that the corrected message that needs to be normalized. So now we'll certainly normalize this as well. If we find it, just select lower message from message and compare it to the original. So let's select the original column message, comma, lower message. As we're going to apply to all the value rows, which takes a while, of course, to explain it, which we now know about. Now this should take about 29 milliseconds from the explain analyze. You'll see that actually some 23.772 milliseconds. So let's add the criteria where ID is greater than 10,000, for example. Now applies. There's the original message, there's the normalized version of the message with the lowercase is applied. Of course, conversely, there's an uppercase. Let's note that this normalizes output to be lowercase from column. And of course, the converse is select upper message from messages with whatever criteria are applicable. So normalizes to be uppercase from column. Again, there's nothing to prevent you from selecting additional columns as well, and including aggregates, so long as all the aggregates which we include by the particular column. So select upper messages where ID is greater than 10,000, and let's go with greater than 9,995, it lists some more items have a different value. So now we see that in other cases everything normalizes it and select the original just to compare and contrast lower to upper, mixed to upper. So lower and upper are quite commonly used because we often enter information, well, we often, but by multiple people enter information into our tables, our tables, and those information may, or those data may be entered in a unnormalized fashion, having especially when stored in text files, etc. So the ability to not worry about the data that are stored within the columns and have them normalized by a PostGres function can be quite useful. Now here's another function that might give you, so that's the ability to uppercase the first character. So select message and compare and contrast, and the function is init cap, so the initial letter will be capitalized, message from messages, applies caps to the first letter of each word. Uppercase digit, compare and apply application caps. So let's take a look at this, and sometimes, again, in particular with mailing lists for marketing, for example, they may be in a variety of fashions. So this normalizes that data for us, some of those data for us. So notice the original data, all lowercase now. First letter of each word, capitalized. Even in the case of the last slide, where ID is greater than 9,995 returns those items. So in that case, it works out nicely to visualize each of those letters. And another thing that you can do is, next function, look at actually, let's just give you a few more functions that might be used within the string manipulation arena. Sometimes you want to overwrite or replace text. There's a function called overlay, which will allow you to overlay the beginning of that particular index number within a string. So for example, take this word next to the 4 characters. So positions 1 through 4. So the function call requires that you reference it this way. So you can replace the value, let's say XX, from position number 2. So this performs string replacement. Again, the notion is that it takes the source character within a column or a static piece of string supplied. In this case, we're going to do so select. And it places the replacement character beginning with position 2 and then removes with the original characters. Let's see how this works. So select an overlay. And notice, let's take a look here, and our text is possibly corrupted the input. Let's double check this XX. From 2, that's because it's a comma. So notice that 2 and 3 characters beginning at position 2 have been replaced with what has specified the completed letter X, and we also beginning at position 2, 1X, and that's the position 2. So sometimes you need to replace characters not relegated to just printable characters, you can use non-printable characters as well. For example, position 2, print 2 spaces, or 3 spaces, and so on. So let's just update our notes to reflect that. After the string, it's not a query sense from the table, the equivalent will be select the following, and just enter the column that's replaced. So let's select message, followed by an overlay of message, which we know is normalized to be supply-based message. And then we could replace, let's say, the YS in supply, or perhaps the SYS. So we can replace the SYS with position 1 using 3 spaces. For example, let's try this out. And that would be terminated. Of course, there are algorithms like left turning, for example, or trimming. So let's try this out to see how it would work. That's the early message. And let's double check. This is our thumb. This is corrupted. So thumb messages. And there you see, let's just pause for a second, that it has placed spaces where you would normally find the word syslog. And again, at position 1, and we can back this up. In the case of those spaces, then we can show the characters. And once we take off yes, let's just include the criteria where ID is less than or equal to 10, show the first 10. And if we keep spreading the spaces out, then you'll see that it's just overlaid one by one. That's how the characters look like. So this is one way to replace characters, but there are more elegant functions. This applies clearly, and of course, from table messages or whatever subsequent criteria. There's no number of other functions, but they go on and on and on. So let's say, for example, like trim, leading a trail of characters. So select trim, and you can indicate whether it's leading or trailing, or both. For example, get rid of spaces. So get rid of spaces. Now let's go to the string initially, and let's use let's see, surrounded by spaces. And this will get rid of those spaces. So this is spaces. Or in that string. Trim, you see that it takes off the beginning and the end. And because of the one of the space takes off the beginning, you see the difference, and there's a space at the end, and it's trim. But you see the trim will trim beginning and end. So trims, beginning, and trailing. Not in between. Not between. That's key. That's why we put the key there to show you that it will not remove space between the string, but only leading and trailing spaces will be trimmed out that trim function. Now another key function that also regularly is have to use a substring. So select substring. This comes up across all languages. Let's go with syslog, for example, as our static text. And if we want to extract from a particular block, let's say position 4, for example, let's see what this extracts. Substring again is key to allow us to extract using string if we may use in other scenarios. So what exactly does transpire here? So from position 4, gives me the string. That's what's happening. So the first 3 have been stripped, and beginning at 4 through the end, we're able to pull the string. So that's what it does for you. Which means if we executed a query, so we would then change this to be simply the name of the column message, for example. From messages, it will give us from position 4. So instead of syslog message, let's just clear on that. Message, comma, substring. So instead of syslog space message, we get log space message. It can be useful in your environment, depending on your application. So an option on this would be select message, comma, substring, and the paste message name of the column from position number 4 from messages applies to table, allowing us to extract the string that's of interest. Another function is is a split part function. Split the string when you give the delimiter, allowing you to further process the string. So let's use option A. So select split part, and let's go with the string of syslog message, which is the what's in our table, and a delimiter of space and 2. This will return the second string. Let's go ahead and see what happens here. And let's pull this out, split it apart, and drop this into the post as well. So our method is syslog message. Now, the delimiter that separates these two pieces of printable strings is a space. We've indicated as such by indicating a single space. So because of that, split part knows that first array element is the string syslog, the second is message. So we can tell it which string to give us, the first or the second. Give us the first in that case, or give us the second. So this is another way to extract like substring information. Substring is good at analyzing the string and giving the piece of the string. Split part is good at looking at the whole string and splitting it up by a common denominator delimiter. So it returns second string using space delimiter. And a single space, if you set, for example, more than one space in the string, then the delimiter will need to be updated to reflect that. Now another example, let's take this last example of string functions, is delimiter the next function. So let's nest the split part of our syslog message and capitalize it. So select init, we want init cap, and we want to split, so this is how you nest as you would with SAPHP, and we want to do this on the message column with the delimiter of space between syslog and message. Give us the second word and ensure that the first, or that word's first character is capitalized. So this is how you nest. So nested functions, and this needs to be selected from messages. And let's go ahead and include your ID of less than 10, just for the string, or limit 10, let's go ahead and just limit the output. So limit 10. So this nested ability works just like other languages like Perl, PHP, Python, ability to nest functions. The innermost function performs its magic, the outermost function performs successfully. So first, the split part broke syslog space message into 2 words.